In at 7, Bad Babysitter. Now, while we don't know the details about what's going on inside the Midnight Motorist minigame, although I think we kind of figured it out, link to that video is in the iCard, I think it's safe to say that this is the Afton family, and particularly the Afton males. Seemingly, Michael was babysitting crying child while their father was at work, but Michael was just watching TV and not his little brother, which allowed his little bro to break his window and go to the pizza place yet again, which I'm sure made his father so angry that when he got his son back home, he wasn't the nice father I'm sure he pretends to be. So Michael's negligence ended up getting his little brother in trouble and God knows what else, because all he wanted to do was watch his show, which is possibly Immortal and the Restless. Which makes this even worse because it's a fucking soap opera. And before any of you get mad at me and tell me that this isn't freaking Michael, okay? The one who tells William to go easy on crying child is most definitely Michael and not William's wife, since this is after William started killing, so his wife was gone. Plus, it's the same gray shirt that Michael wears at like literally all the time, and he's in front of the same TV that we sit in front of in Sister Location. That's about as clear cut as the series gets. And at 6, Walking Corpse. Now, Sister Location also ends with a scene of Michael walking around town literally purple and smelling god-awful. Some see this as his body rotting thanks to the animatronic parts inside him. I like to think that it's because the robotic parts inside him are beating up his inside so much that it's causing severe bruising, because never have I once seen a decaying body be shown as purple in color. Every version of rotting corpses, especially like living corpses, with zombies being the most common example when rotting, are shown as green in cartoons, like Minecraft zombies for instance, or Plants vs. Zombies. So the purple in reality just can't be decay, because it just doesn't work, it doesn't make sense. But if it is the case, walking around in public smelling like that is a crime in and of itself. Holy crap. And if it's not the case, this man obviously hasn't showered in ages, and whether that's due to a personal choice or the choice of the animatronics inside him, damn, it's still a horrifying mistake. A damn shame is what it is. And at 4, Animatronic Escape. Going to investigate a secret underground facility when your homicidal maniac of a father asks you to is one thing. It's another thing when you become the vessel through which 5 separate animatronics escape into the outside world to begin wreaking havoc. Like, sure, you couldn't really help it, but the canon ending to the game is seemingly the one where you listen to Baby and then end up getting scooped. So in actuality, Michael was being just a big old dum-dum here. After everything, you should know that the possessed animatronics, even if they are possessed by your sister, are a bad idea, especially if you've been through the other locations already and have been attacked by those very same haunted animatronics. Have you never seen an episode of Supernatural? Like, every spirit is a vengeful spirit after this long, bro. Come on. Just salt and burn the animatronic and then go home. Wait, could the whole, like, remnant needs to burn thing be referenced to Supernatural? I hope so. Getting close to the end, in number 3, robotic recreation. Okay, losing a child is a horrific tragedy to have to go through, okay? I know that. It's happened in my family, and I know the toll it can take. But I'm gonna be honest here, okay? Nobody in my family has brought someone back by turning them into a robot and then implanting them with memories made using a tripod and a camera. Okay, Henry doing this not only leads to more grief, but also this basically child then has to go through some really traumatic stuff because they are a robot. Not to mention the fact that her adult version is also one of the killer animatronics that the guy who killed your daughter in the first place created. And it was possessed by the spirit of the killer's daughter, who was also killed by that specific animatronic. So yeah, this is some pretty weird stuff to say the absolute least. Not to throw in how it kinda comes out of left field and threw literally everything we knew about the series for a loop, despite everyone not really thinking that it matters in the grand scheme of things. Just like, why are the books the way they are? Like, why do I have to deal with this on a daily basis? Why is this my life? How is this my job? So many questions that nobody has the answers for, okay? Not even my therapist, who strangely keeps going missing every time they ask me about encrypted conversations that I don't remember having. And ultimately, in at number 2, arson. Alright, don't get me wrong. I love fire, and I've made jokes about arson multiple times on this channel. I'm actually surprised the police haven't contacted me. we're not that popular, but like, we love a little anarchy, you know? But this man has some serious pyromaniac tendencies from the looks of things. He sets one fire in 2023 and then proceeds to light another one not long after. Like, bro, what's your deal? You literally made an entire Pizzaplex just to set on fire. Why are you so fire happy all of a sudden? Okay, it didn't even work. Literally every time we set a fire, it doesn't do the one thing that we wanted it to do, which is kill Afton for good. He survived FNAF 3. He survived FNAF 6. He survived the security breach fire only to be grabbed by the blob. So clearly, fire isn't working, but Henry doesn't stop. And yes, the FNAF security breach fires were actually thanks to Henry, since it was almost certainly the same system that he had used to set the fires in the FNAF 6 location, since this Freddy Fazbear's is the simulated one from that game. But this man keeps setting fire after fire with no actual accomplishments because of it. Dude, take a hint. It's not working. And finally, in at number 1, neglect. Now, this might be a controversial topic. This may make a few Henry stans mad. But you know what? It needs to be said. If you're suspicious of your business partner and concerned for your daughter's well-being, you don't just give her a special bracelet that makes her a priority to the one security bot you have, okay? That's one thing you can do, but you don't just do that, especially when that bot can be disabled by simply placing a couple of boxes on top of it. You keep her at home as much as you can, you keep an eye on her, and you should be doing that anyways, because, you know, she's like 3 years old. You don't give her a bracelet and then let her run around amongst the big kids at a pizza place where she gets locked outside of and then subsequently killed. Bro, no. How did she even get locked outside? How was that possible? How could that even happen? Neglect. This man put a green bracelet on his 3-year-old daughter and said, "That's enough," and then neglected her, hoping that the green bracelet would just protect her. Like, bro, what the hell? Especially when the man you think may hurt her is the one who built the animatronics in the first place and knows exactly how to disable it when the time comes. The worst thing Henry has done was straight up just get his daughter killed. He suspected William and then didn't report it to the cops. Could we at least get him like a conspiracy to commit charge? And then he thinks that a bracelet is going to be enough to keep her safe thanks to an animatronic that William had designed. And it's Afton Robotics, dude. Holy crap. You can't fight me on this. You can't argue in the comments. You know I'm right. In at 10, repair cost. Now, I get that in this moment, Freddy is trying to be a hero, okay, but this guy doesn't think through any of his plans. Because in the Fazer Blast ending, this man is just wailing on the Vanny staff bots or getting himself torn to shreds. And sure, he was trying to protect Gregory or whatever, but this man destroyed multiple staff bots only to get himself destroyed in the process. Like, why fight them off when we can, I don't know, run away and escape? And even if you don't want to think about other options, okay, think about the repair cost that comes with reassembling those bots and Freddy. Like, dude, you could have told Gregory to run and then gotten yourself destroyed, which would not only have saved the company money, but also probably resulted in you not getting reprogrammed when you're reconstructed. So this time, way to go, buddy. You ruined yourself. You could have been rebuilt the way you were, okay, all protective and whatnot, but instead, now they know that you're violent against anyone who's actually affiliated with the company, so now they're gonna reprogram you. Well done. In at 9, possibly possessed. This is only a possibility, hence why it's at number 9, but there is evidence for it. But whether you believe it or not, okay, Glamrock Freddy being possessed only ends poorly for him. I mean, seriously, if this is Michael inside of Glamrock Freddy somehow, this only makes the character worse because Michael isn't a good person, or rather is only a good person to make himself feel better, and doesn't really do anything all that good throughout the series. The happiest day minigame was seemingly the puppet throwing the party to release the spirits. Fire in FNAF 6 was set by Henry, suggesting that he was also the one who set the FNAF 3 fire. Oh, and Michael? He ended up freeing 5 killer robots from a secret underground storage and testing facility after his psycho serial killer dad asked him to go down there and check it out, after he knew that his father was a serial killer, assuming that this takes place around the same time as FNAF 3, given the burned down Fazbear frights in the end of the sister location final scene, or even just after 1993, which would make sense. So yeah, if Glamrock Freddy is possessed, that guy. In at 8, FNAF AR. Okay, now this isn't exactly Glamrock Freddy's fault or his doing, but way back in December of 2020, Kieran Sinha, the CEO of Illumix, the company behind FNAF AR, told Daco in an interview that Glamrock Freddy was confirmed to be added to FNAF AR special delivery in the future, but it's been nearly 2 years and Freddy, nor any other security breach animatronic, has actually been added. Now, this is bad no matter what way you look at it, okay? Like, whether he gets added or not, okay? If he doesn't get added, then people are going to be disappointed, but if he does get added, instead, then it's going to be a mess with so much of the supposed story that we get in Security Breach just not making sense anymore. Since the whole point of FNAF AR is that these are animatronics being sent out to families to rebuild their reputation. However, this means that there must be multiple of these animatronics to send out. So there would be a warehouse full of multiple Glamrock Freddys. But we're led to believe in-game that if Freddy goes missing, Monty ends up taking over as the leader of the band. But if that is the case, why wouldn't they just use one of the other Glamrock Freddy models? Or slap his casing on a new endo like Vanessa suggests in Parts and Service? Adding Freddy to special delivery only makes things more complicated, but if he doesn't get added, people will get mad. So you know what? Might as well make them angry mad instead of insane mad, you know? Because we're trying to figure out the damn lore, and that would drive me literally crazy. In at 7, he didn't call the cops. Let's look at this logically, alright? This man knew what was going on and that Afton had some shady shit going down. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put a green wristband on Charlie, right? Well, if he knew this man was up to something and was fearing for his daughter's safety because of it, why didn't he make the damn call to the police and say like, hey man, so William Afton is the one who's offing all those kids and the one that you've been looking for, alright? So go get him. Like, maybe he didn't have any proof, but he could certainly have kept an eye on him or gotten the police to keep an eye on him. But he didn't. And instead, he did a whole load of other shit that in reality did nothing to actually hinder William. He did some stuff to put him out of commission for like 30 years, but only 30 years. This man could have actually stopped him, but instead chose to keep his mouth shut. You know what they say, if you see something, say something. Well, at least they say that on the Toronto Transit. I don't know if they really say it anywhere else. And at 6, sealed Afton. Speaking of putting William out of commission for 30 years, why did he do that? Okay, it seems like a dumb idea compared to some other alternatives. Maybe he tried other avenues before he actually ended up hiding those rooms away, but like, in reality, we can't be sure and we have to go off of what we know. So, this man sees Afton stuck spasming in the spring Bonnie suit and straight up thinks, yeah, let's just hide this. And not like, oh, let's put him out of the misery so we can also put an end to the killing spree once and for all. I mean, it seems like the biggest mistake made by any FNAF character is the choice to make William suffer. Like, if we just put him to the sword, we would all be able to go home safely. But no, he locks Afton in a room where he hopes that he'll starve to death and suffer. Stupid idea. You could have just ended it then and there. You seem to have no other qualms in killing him literally at any other time, so what's the deal here? It's not like someone's gonna know it was you, or know that the animatronic actually contained a person. Even the death penalty nowadays doesn't make people suffer. Okay, don't be dumb for your own petty vengeance. Let them suffer in prison where they're probably gonna get killed anyway. Halfway through into number 5, freed Afton. Not only does this man lock Afton away in a secret room prison in an old pizzeria, he then ends up letting him be set free. Henry, being the owner of the company and sole proprietor after Afton's death or disappearance, he would be the only person who would most definitely be the one to have the final sale and be the one to sign off on a sale of the FNAF 3 location. He would have had to, however, he sells it knowing that Afton is damn well trapped inside. I don't know why this guy thought it was a good idea, but here we are. William is then set free by the people who bought it because they see that the original blueprints have a secret room, and then lo and behold, William is freed again and thirsty for blood. Sure, Henry might have thought that William was dead, but he thought that those guys would stumble upon a dead body in a secret room all sealed up and then what, just ignore it? Or freak out and get rid of it themselves? Would they even know that it was a dead body? Because like, they might have just thought that it was a really, really old animatronic. Like they do when it starts moving. If it starts moving, I'd be like, okay, there's no way this is an old animatronic. So like, what was Henry's plan here? It doesn't seem to make any sense. Like, who would think that this is a good idea? Especially after owning a business for that long. And at 4, Alivened. While he might have had issues in killing Afton for whatever reason, he seems to be just fine offing his son when he finally gets the chance. And by his son, I mean Afton's son. I mean, like, in both the fires that were set by Henry, FNAF 3 and FNAF 6, Michael was there both times, and he didn't seem to care that Michael was in the building. He didn't even give Michael the opportunity to exit the building in FNAF 6, despite there having been a way out planned. Quote from Henry's final speech: "And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be." He assumes that we also want to die in these halls, and then doesn't give us the chance to actually make the decision for ourselves. He just forces us to die since he doesn't give us a way out. I'm sorry, man, but that's murder, okay? Whether we wanted it or not. Assisted suicide is still illegal, at least for the majority of the states, from my understanding. So either way, this is a crime. But again, he doesn't give us the option to get out, making it more of a murder-suicide than an assisted self-offing. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, lies. Speaking of the whole needing to recharge thing, where did that BS come from? None of the other animatronics seemingly need to charge every hour. And like I said, he doesn't lose power unless we're piloting him. And then when the hour in game rolls around, we don't get into the recharge station because he needs to charge. We get in to avoid the daycare attendant, okay? It's almost as if they released him so that Freddy getting in the recharge station every hour would make sense despite him not needing to do that. Oh wait, they would only do that if he was evil. And he needs to recharge basically every other minute if we're actually going by in-game time, since the time only moves as you progress through the story. Standing in one place, draining him of all of his power basically means that he loses all of his power in a microsecond in game, which is insane. So, like, what's going on here? What's with the other lies that he's been spitting this whole time? Because it isn't the only thing. And there are so many other suspicious moments in this game that we could do a whole list about how Gregory got lucky just by the sheer stupidity of other characters. Actually, write that down. But ultimately, in at number 2, no warning. Okay, so Freddy can seemingly sense the other animatronics, or at least knows when Gregory is in danger somehow. Not quite sure how that works, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. What I'm thinking is that if this guy can sense radio waves or connect to the main server whenever he isn't cut off from it for whatever reason, why didn't he warn us about the blob and how it's a total freak show when we encounter it on our way down to the Afton ending? Okay, I mean, like, the game requires us to be in Freddy at this point, otherwise we get insta-killed by the blob as we pass it. So why isn't Freddy questioning this giant mass of metal, tentacles, animatronic faces, and possibly even souls? Not even the slightest hint about it, especially since at this point he has Roxy's eyes, which allows him to see through walls and spot discs that would be hidden otherwise. So like, where's my warning, bro? Not even a little heads up saying like, oh yeah, we might have to worry about this thing. I can tell that it's at least semi-functional. No? Alright. And finally, in at number 1, Dugout Afton. Speaking of the Afton ending, while on our way down to it, Freddy straight up admits to being down here before. Quote from Freddy, "I know what this is. I have been here before. She brought me here. I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path. I did not want to, but I had no choice. Now I have a choice. I have changed. My friends are here. They are so angry, confused, but I can protect you." Hold on. Why is it that now you have a choice? Okay, what actually changed? Because some random kid being in the crowd and then being counted as a security breach could not have glitched you out that badly that all of a sudden you have free will again. Especially since you didn't actually even meet or see Gregory until after you've glitched out. He also claims to have become sentient down here seemingly. Like, what else could "I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path" mean? And if he became sentient down there, why did he also not have any free will at that point? That makes absolutely no sense. None of this scene makes sense. But even though that's also messed up and certainly something that is mega ultra sus, he still helped dig out Afton, which in my mind is the biggest sin of all. Okay, willing or not, he still did it, and as someone who wants Afton permadead, I cannot allow that to stand. So yeah, number 1 on this list, absolutely. Your angry comments that you are typing literally right now will have no effect on this, okay, so don't even bother. There's no point. I've already made the video. In at 10, turns on us. The reason this is going to be our number 10 slot is because, well, technically it isn't Freddy that's turning on us. Technically speaking, it's William Afton taking control of Freddy's body and making him turn on us. So yeah, it's kind of up in the air. During the final boss fight, Freddy can be hacked by Burn Trap, and when this is going on, he'll stand in the middle of the room as a hazard and just start like jibbing out. If Burn Trap ends up successfully hacking him, meaning that you don't burn him before a timer runs out, Glamrock Freddy will chase after and kill Gregory, either by just like running at you or by pulling him out of his stomach if, you know, you're inside of Freddy when he's getting tortured, which is weird. That's a whole other issue. Gregory can still lure Freddy out of the way when he is being taken over though by calling him over to a different spot, hitting the right button, whatever version you're on. But I mean, like, come on, okay? Like, how is it that Freddy can't resist this at this point? Like, yeah, sure, it's Afton directly tapping into you, but he's also using a computer as a proxy. So it's basically the same thing as the original Glitch Trap virus that he ended up stopping somehow in the opening credits, okay? I don't know how this was supposed to make sense in universe, but either way, it's stupid, and Glamrock Freddy should be ashamed that this could have happened, even if canonically it didn't. But I still do think that Freddy is evil, okay? Check up in the top right corner, whichever one that ends up being, for the video explaining why, because yeah, it's a long one, if I remember. And at 9, copyright infringement. Okay, technically I don't think that this is actually copyright infringement, and it's more so a reference to a well-known figure, but it's definitely something that needs to be mentioned. At this point, I think everyone knows about the Glamrock Freddy pose that's meant to be a reference to Freddie Mercury, right? Yeah, I feel like it's a thing. The one from the introduction, and I think it was also maybe in the trailers. Well, I'm gonna use this number to be like a YouTube comment section and say that he's stealing it rather than making a reference. Because whenever I say something as a reference to someone else, even subtly, so that only those who actually watch those other YouTubers would understand, people say that I'm trying to steal their thing, or that I'm taking it. Like, dude, bro, it's a reference. It's an homage, okay? Of course me saying that it's just a theory, a game theory is meant to be MatPat, okay? It's not me trying to steal it. Obviously, everyone knows where it comes from. You come here in between MatPat theories on FNAF, okay? Like, the same thing happens when I'm calling Chica Mommy, or doing the Eddie VR whistle, okay? That was terrible. It's a reference, okay? But everyone in the comments every time says that I'm stealing it. So I'm going to apply that logic to Freddy and say that he's stealing this pose, okay? Now watch all those same commenters that were attacking me come to defend Freddy now, okay? I'm gonna, you know what? I said defriend, leave it in too, okay? I don't care. And at 8 carries us. While yes, ripping us out of your stomach and tearing us to shreds with that last bit of power you have left is stupid, putting us in that chamber in the first place was a pretty goddamn stupid idea, and it was just probably just at least equally as stupid. I mean, like, he even said it himself that it was a bad idea, but even after saying that, he lets us crawl inside anyway. And there were so many other options. Okay, I'll discuss the biggest issue later on, but seriously, why did he think that this would result in anything other than our death? It's a miracle that it didn't, honestly, especially when we're inside his stomach while he's getting recharged. This dude needs so much power that to fix him we need to juice him with a damn car battery, but we're just sitting inside him while he's getting all that power back from a station inside of him, where the wires and robotic parts are. How did we not get electrocuted? Okay? Like, yeah, we deal with a lot of dangerous things throughout this game, but running around inside Freddy is supposed to be the safe space according to the game. But looking at it logically, it might even have been the worst idea of all. And at 7, tackles Vanny. Okay, so yeah, sure, this is a good thing because he's tackling the bad guy, but let's be honest, Freddy is kind of dumb and his critical thinking skills are lacking, to say the least. If you think about it, he doesn't really think through any of his decisions despite being an incredibly advanced AI. When we're on the top of the Pizzaplex in the rooftop ending, after Freddy sets fire to the Pizzaplex below us without a real proper way out planned, we get to the roof of a burning building and meet Vanny. No idea how she got up there before us, but that's not the point right now. But after being able to see her with Roxy's eyes, he tackles her off the roof of a burning building. Now, originally I questioned our escape plan, okay, but Gregory does then run down the fire escape afterwards. But if he was so concerned about Vanny, why wouldn't Freddy just grab us and run? Like, why did he tackle her? It seems like the dumbest decision because, Freddy left us on the top of a burning building when we're basically the size of a 4-year-old. Like, I get that she's a bad person, but if she came after you when you were with Gregory, couldn't at that point you then just punch her or do whatever, okay? Your priority isn't to defend Gregory if you're just leaving us on the top of a burning building. He rises, my dude. We would have been screwed. And that fire escape, damn, that's gonna be hot. And at 6, harboring a criminal. The idea of protecting Freddy at first seems like a noble one. However, the more you look at it and the worse you see the world, you end up seeing things in my perspective. And this protecting a defenseless kid idea turns into Freddy harboring a criminal, since as I've explained in the past, Gregory has committed multiple crimes. We in fact have a whole list on the crimes that Gregory has committed. From trespassing to murder, this kid has done a lot, and Freddy defends him the entire time. Sure, it's against bad people, but it doesn't mean that this kid is, like, in the clear, okay? It's messed up. He steals security badges, hundreds of dollars worth of merch, he destroys animatronics, he ends up killing Vanny in the Phaser Blast ending, and even steals Freddy in most of the other endings, which is grand larceny. This kid is a criminal, and Freddy encourages this behavior. He encourages and gives him the information required for Gregory to commit fraud with the daycare pass. He encourages Gregory to steal the security badges. He tells Gregory not to hurt his friends, but doesn't really do anything more than that. Gotta love the plot plausible deniability there. If he isn't even harboring a criminal, then he is most definitely an accomplice. So no matter what, this is not a good thing. Halfway through into number 5, definitely evil. Okay, now I know that nobody wants to believe me on this, and I understand why. We all want to hold out hope that finally one of the animatronics is good and trying to help us. But Glamrock Freddy is almost certainly evil and just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. We have also made a whole video on this as well, so if you want to check that one out, please do. But like, this guy makes some hella sketchy choices throughout our entire time at the Pizzaplex that only makes things worse for us. He takes us to get healed despite us saying no and having a limited time to actually get out of the Pizzaplex, which then makes us get locked inside, especially because that 30 seconds would have actually gotten us out the door. We also just sit in the booth when we're supposed to be getting healed and don't actually get healed, by the way. He was unable to access the main Pizzaplex network despite having no reason to be disconnected from it because he wasn't supposed to be suspected. And after Vanessa leaves Freddy without his head and parts in service, she sees him fully reassembled in less than 5 minutes and doesn't question it, almost like it was the plan the whole time. There is literally no other living human in the Pizzaplex, okay? Especially at this point. So who else could have put him back together? There are no robots that are doing that because there's precautions to keep humans safe aside from the one in the cylinder, and we don't see any actual staff bots near that area, okay? The only thing that makes sense is that Freddy is secretly evil, and maybe even he doesn't know it, but either way, he's gonna turn on us, okay? I'm calling it. It's gonna happen. In at 4, On Your Own. Now, given that there are 3 psycho-animatronics roaming the Pizzaplex, ignoring all laws of robotics and trying to kill humans, why is it that the one animatronic trying to protect us is constantly leaving us, okay? Like, originally, he left us so that he could charge or whatever, but after we get the tutorial and then we can have him like call and we can call him to us, he never needs to recharge again, seemingly. I mean, like, come on, okay? As long as you're not inside of his stomach, he doesn't lose power, which means that this man could be following us the entire time that we do all of these missions, but he doesn't. The game provides some excuses for certain areas, like he can't crawl under the door to El Chips, which is a total lie, because he definitely could, or that if he touches the dance floor, he won't be able to stop himself from grooving. But why doesn't he follow us literally the rest of the time? Okay, it seems stupid to leave this small child on his own when 3 of your friends are trying to kill him. There's also a psycho bunny bitch running around, and a daycare attendant who definitely wants to do disturbing things to him every hour, okay? Why would you leave that kid alone? It's irresponsible and goes against everything we're supposed to believe about this guy, but we just accept it. Getting close to the end into number 3, Cliffhanger. I love stories. I love telling stories, I love hearing stories, I love reading stories. Most of my favorite stories involve time travel, but I also love TV. And one thing that TV is really good at is keeping you hooked with cliffhangers. The issue is, that only works for TV. When I'm playing a game, I don't want to be left on a cliffhanger and then not have it be resolved that same game. That just feels like it's a way to try and force me to buy the next game so I can see the conclusion of how that plays out. Freddy, though, definitely provides us with a couple cliffhangers that never get resolved in Security Breach, no matter how hard you look. Most notably, I think, are There Is No Bunny in This Pizzaplex Not Anymore, and You Look Different to Me. The first one, of course, being in reference to Bonnie after Monty seemingly smashed him, and while we may not have gotten a confirmed explanation, at the very least we got that one duffel bag that explains that it was most likely Monty's fault that Bonnie isn't here. However, that second one, You Look Different to Me, is what Freddy says after we install Roxy's eyes onto him. Okay, he says that we look different to him now, but then he never mentions that again since Moondrop decides to show up. Okay, I don't get it. Why? Why would you do this? It's mean, okay? I hate mysteries. They need to be solved. And the only explanation that makes sense is that Gregory is a robot, but there's like that we can't know, okay? God damn it, Freddy. Penultimately, in at number 2, Staying Until 6. Glamrock Freddy straight up encourages Gregory to risk his life in order to get out of the Pizzaplex, when in all honesty, the safest thing to do would just be to keep him in your stomach or in your green room until 6 AM, especially after the door had closed and he was definitely stuck. Okay, there was no need for this daycare secret escape hatch BS. Okay, you could have just gone back the way you came and everything would have been fine. You would have not been suspicious since you'd have at least appeared like you listened to Vanessa, then went back to your room after she told you to, and then Gregory would have been safe, especially after you knew that there was a crazy bunny bitch running around the Pizzaplex trying to slaughter him. So yeah, if Glamrock Freddy is possessed by Michael, he did a horrible job being a surrogate older brother or whatever the situation is, okay? That kind of hurts the whole he's there to protect Gregory because of the crying child thing. You can think of all the excuses for him that you want, okay? But if Gregory had just waited in Freddy's green room, everything would have been fine. Vanessa would have had no reason to check there since she didn't have at any point throughout the game, even when Freddy pops back up 5 minutes after being left in parts and service with his freaking head removed. Like, who else is going to put him back together aside from Gregory? Like, you could have simply let Gregory stay with you in your room or kept him in your cake hole in your chest until 6 a.m. because we can go into recharge stations with him. Okay, so why couldn't we just chill in his chest the whole time if it was actually that safe, okay? God damn it. I hate this series. And finally, in at number 1, Selfish. This whole list is going to make so many people angry, but I think that this number especially is going to make those hardcore Freddy stans absolutely furious, and I think that's hilarious. Glamrock Freddy, no matter what way you slice it, is selfish. Some people assume that he's possessed by Michael Afton, okay? I just mentioned it, which, if it is true, that means that he's only protecting you because he feels bad and thinks that he caused his brother's death, which he partly did. Or, if he isn't possessed by Michael Afton, this Freddy is very loose with his so-called moral code. He tells you not to hurt his friends and that he doesn't want their upgrades, but then he takes them anyway. You could argue that it's in his programming because like we hit the button on the monitor or whatever, but it's also supposed to be in his programming to hunt us down. Obviously, he isn't really working through his normal specs, but nevertheless, after hearing about the brutal mutilation of his friends, he still lets you install these upgrades into his body and then doesn't bat an eye about how you got them or that, you know, his friends are in his body now. It's incredibly messed up when you really think about it, okay? Basically, in this game, Gregory is a black market organ harvester and dealer, but for animatronics. And Freddy doesn't care, because it gets him a cool new ability. Yeah, that's right, I said it. And at 10, Crushed Elizabeth. I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? Some specific kids make me understand William's whole MO. But the fact that he made these robots, especially the Fun Times, specifically to kill, and the first kid they kill is his own daughter. That's some serious karma, man. But considering how horrific Baby becomes after this thanks to Elizabeth, I feel like she might have had it coming, okay? Girl was a lot more like her father than she really should have been, honestly. Well, yes, crushing any kid would have been bad, but like, your creator's daughter? Seriously? Like, why was there no blacklist for kids that you shouldn't grab? Like, you have animatronics that can walk on their own, advanced AI, facial recognition technology, but you can't make a goddamn program that says, do not kill these kids, they come from my loins? Like, bro, if you ask me, you had it coming. Like, who tells their kids not to do something and then actually expects them to listen? Especially when it was built to attract and lure kids. And when they're that young. Like, seriously, William is stupid. But this was still a messed up thing for Baby to do. And this is why she's more so Afton's creation than the other ones, because she's literally also his kid. And at 9, Fought Ennard. FNAF 5 to 6 had some serious changes. Baby went from being a part of Ennard in FNAF 5 to her own separate animatronic again, with seemingly no explanation in FNAF 6. Well, no explanation if you're not really a FNAF fan, since we all know that the interaction that caused this unfortunate split actually took place within the source code of Scott Cawthon's websites, where the two, ScottGames.com and FNAFWorld.com, were arguing, which resulted in Baby getting voted off the island. But honestly, thinking about it, this was a pretty dumb idea for her. Like, it seems that Molten Freddy is the one controlling the Blob from FNAF Security Breach, since they're the face that the Blob prefers to use to jump scare the player and interact with Afton, even though it's more Funtime Freddy and not Molten Freddy. But we also know that Molten Freddy is just the remains of Ennard after Baby got kicked out, hence why it dropped the whole clown aesthetic. It's also worth noting that Baby's face is on the Blob, except it's missing the red light in its eyes, meaning that its soul is probably not contained within the animatronic amalgam. So if Baby had stayed a part of Ennard, she might still be fighting. Of course, we can't be certain that she's not possessing something else, but we can't be sure that she is either. And at 8, Afton Amalgam. One of the biggest twists from the Fazbear Frights book's epilogue stories is that they end up fighting a giant trash rabbit known as the Afton Amalgam. Yeah, But then a mysterious black blob is revealed to be behind everything. This blob was controlled by Baby, or I guess Elizabeth. Either way, at this point, it's the same thing. I'm guessing this reveal was originally intended to happen after Security Breach was released, given the original release date of the game, which would have made this much more rewarding and an actual, like, big reveal. But Baby was literally revealed to be controlling a version of her father, the man who got her killed by creating a robot designed to kill, the man who killed her brother in the same way, who killed 5 additional kids, at least, who wanted to bring her brother back as an animatronic. She controlled a version of him and still wanted to make him proud. At least she ended up abandoning him, but not for any moral reasons, but because she knew that the battle was lost and wanted to live to fight another day. Okay, well, I say live, but in reality, just she didn't want to be destroyed since she's dead and possessing stuff. She's not really alive, but like, you know what I mean, okay? And it's 7 stupid answers. Okay, look, I get the idea that stupid questions get stupid answers, but honestly, for being this advanced of an AI, this guy is dumb as hell. Oh, what was that? Oh, that's a fountain. Really? No shit, Sherlock. Of course it's a fountain. What are you on about? Okay, I get that you can't see Vanny, but given the CRT effects that we get when she's around, assuming that we are human, there is no way that you can't even feel that something was different there, okay? My question is, why are you unable to see her? But you can then see her when you get Roxy's eyes? That seems so stupid to me. Like, why would you block every animatronic but Roxy from seeing you? And if you didn't block every animatronic and only blocked Freddy, why? What would have been the point of that? The whole point of this is that nobody is suspicious of Freddy actually being the guy who's helping Gregory, okay? Even after Vanessa leaves Freddy with his head removed in the parts and service room, and then like 5 minutes later he can walk in front of her without her even batting an eye. So why would they make him unable to see Vanny? It's like whatever stupid blind spot they made or not, okay? Dude answers multiple questions with stupid answers that don't help anyone, alright? It's annoying. He could have done so much more. And at 6, power. What is the deal with this guy and actually needing to recharge like every 5 minutes? Okay, in like the game sense, time isn't really moving when I'm running around for 5 hours since I haven't actually progressed the story. So if this animatronic is supposed to need to recharge every hour only, why is this such a big issue? And why does he only use power when we're actually inside of him like a mech, okay? Like, if this was the case, shouldn't this man be losing power when we summon him to like grab us down in the 3rd basement floor? And why does he need to recharge but seemingly all the other animatronics don't? Okay, I never see Chica, Roxy, or Monty in a recharge station. Even if you're around where they should be around, or like where they should be in a recharge station when the hour hits, okay? It's stupid, it's confusing, and it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like Freddy is doing this to us on purpose, either because he thinks it's funny, or maybe he really is working for Vanny but needs to gain our trust and makes excuses for why he can't be around us all the time so then he can go and sneak off and tell Vanny what's going on. Or why we can't just like hide inside of him all night, okay? There's something fishy going on with this animatronic, and I swear in the next game we're gonna find out that he ended up betraying us and ripping us to shreds off screen. In it for Monty's claws. Monty's whole personality is destroying things, okay? He likes to do it and is capable of doing it because of the claws that they installed onto his character so that he could pluck the strings of the bass guitar. I guess animatronics don't like using guitar picks for some reason. Either way, when Freddy gets these claws, he's also able to start destroying things and breaking open barriers, which is just kind of weird when you think about it. Like, was Monty this way before getting the claws? Because if he was, he couldn't really do much damage, since we needed the claws to even be able to smash through small fence gates. So if he already was like that, why would they have given him the death machines for hands? Or wasn't that like the hands gave him the ability to smash things, which turned into him smashing everything he could? I mean, it's definitely possible, okay? We've seen Weirder come out of the FNAF series, and if that was the way that this played out, would it also happen for Freddy? Like, is Freddy going to see how much he likes smashing stuff and then just go absolutely bananas? I think it could happen. And even if it doesn't, the fact that Freddy has these destructive capabilities and then just doesn't punch out the other animatronics during the final boss fight, friends or not, especially when Afton isn't trying to take control of him, like when Roxy comes in and you have to crawl inside and then scream. Yeah, why didn't he just punch her out then? Okay, that's messed up. He could have done so much more, but he just chose not to. Penultimately, in at number 2, saved William. Assuming that Baby is in control of the blob like she is in the Fazbear Frights books, did she save Afton in the security breach true ending? While this ending was left vague for sequel purposes, I think it's not out of the question, especially since a load of people still want Afton to be alive for some reason. Like, why can't you just let the man die off permanently and then go rot in hell? Okay, like for real though. Ultimate Custom Night was supposed to be a form of hell, but not like actual hell. Like, it was supposed to be in a eternal agony brought on by the vengeful spirit, but it wasn't actual hell. This man needs to suffer for his actions, okay? Even Satan would be appalled by this dude's crimes. Like gluttony, lust, greed. You do those things, you go downstairs a legend. But just offing a bunch of kids because you wanted to, and then discovering that it could make you immortal is just hella messed up. Like I've said that Satan wouldn't have approved of many things, particularly a load of versions of spiders from video games. But Satan wouldn't even like this guy, okay? Just like toss him in the empty or something, and he'd let him be alone forever. Something like that. Like goddamn. And then Baby saves this man? The man who got her killed? Yeah, that's definitely one of the worst things she's done, even like especially to her own psyche. In a 10 springlock suits. While Henry may not have designed the springlock suits, he certainly let Afton create them and then allowed for their use in the restaurants, despite them being incredibly dangerous to employees, only putting them out of commission when someone got hurt, and not being proactive because they were literal death machines. Okay, you make separate animatronics and then you have separate costumes, okay? That's the right move, the smart move, the safe move. But this so-called businessman thought, yeah, I'll put the safety of my employees at risk by making them wear a hot as balls suit filled with robotic parts that, with even the slightest bit of moisture, will cause those robotic parts to snap back into place. What can go wrong? We want to talk about Willy Wonka's OSHA violations? Imagine FNAF's OSHA violations. Damn, it's actually a good list idea. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. But seriously, Henry definitely had to pay someone off to keep that thing under wraps. God damn. And I thought that William was the one paying everyone off. Maybe not. And at 9, stayed open. Not only did this man allow for the springlock suits to be used by staff, even if it was in their contract, it shouldn't have needed to be in their contract anyway. But this man kept the company going after losing how many kids? His daughter, Afton's 2 kids, 5 more in 1985, and then however many that kept getting slaughtered by Afton every time they reopened. By reopening over and over, Henry gave Afton a location to kill, even when he got Afton banned from the location and tried using facial recognition tech to keep him out. Okay, Afton made the robots. Of course, he's not going to add himself to the facial recognition, if it was even an actual thing to begin with. But this man reopened like how many times before finally biting it in FNAF 6? Like seriously, before Springtrap was even a thing, they reopened like 3 times at least. Why did this man think that any of this was a good idea? In FNAF 6, he says that he wants everyone to forget about the tragedies that were caused by these restaurants, but do that by closing the restaurants before Springtrap is created, so we can all just live in peace. And at 8, left it to fate. FNAF 6 was supposed to be the end of the Afton story. That's what Henry set out to do in that game. Make sure that nobody remembered what happened there, despite the parents of the victims definitely remembering. However, this dumbass figured that the fire didn't work the last time, so a second one surely will. And in fact, he was so confident in his plan, for whatever stupid reason, that he actually let himself die in this process to leave nobody remembering what happened. But like I said, even if Henry and William are dead, the parents of the victims still know. And as we learned from security breach duffel bags, they aren't the only parents who remember too, citing the missing children from the Pizzaplex as happening again. If Henry had stuck around to see if the job was really done, like a round of Hearthstone, maybe William wouldn't have been able to possess Fanny and come back yet again to wreak more havoc. The Pizzaplex's missing children are a direct result of Henry just being a straight up moron, and you can't tell me any different. Okay, he should have lit the place up, smashed everything that survived the fire, and then he could off himself if he wanted to, okay? But like, make sure the job's done first. And at 7, kills her brother. Or at least tries to. You see, since we play as Michael in every game of the original series with the exception of FNAF 4 and 7, Michael is the one in danger. And since Baby's after us as the player in FNAFs 5 and 6, she is legit trying to kill her brother. Especially in FNAF 6, holy damn. and she does so in such a menacing way. Being able to absolutely slaughter your brother without a moment's thought is probably one of the most messed up things Baby could have done. But if we're being honest at this point, she was kind of nuts at that point, so I think that it's better to put this higher on the list. Like, honestly, thinking about this, in the 5th game, she wasn't really trying to kill him, just get inside him, which sounds awful now that I say it out loud. Oh my god, what the flying fuck are these games? But in Pizzeria Simulator, she definitely wanted to kill you. And during her final speech, she even thinks that it's what her father would want. So needless to say, she's pretty out of it at this point, which makes it slightly more forgiving, but not so much. And at 6, scrapped. While she did end up fighting the rest of Ennard and getting kicked out, resulting in the creation of Molten Freddy, she also ended up having to remake herself, or at least give herself another shell, as well as seemingly another arm, since, you know, now we see a giant claw on her left arm. However, you want to know something interesting? According to the Freddy Files Updated Edition, the Bible of the FNAF franchise basically, the claw on her left arm is the same one from her stomach, meaning that Elizabeth knowingly attached the claw that resulted in her death to her arm. And that's absolutely terrifying. Like, this chick is like, yeah, this thing killed me, so let's put it on my arm so I have better access to it. You know, just in case I need to use it for whatever reason. So yeah, this laced up her sneakers, thought, oh, what if I need to kill someone today? And said might as well claw them to death with this monstrosity that killed me. Do you people not realize how absolutely nuts that is? Like, that's... bro. Halfway through into number 5, Impress Daddy. Along the same note of, oh, I wanted that arm in case I needed to sever anybody's body parts or something. We know that's why she has it and not for self-defense. Before Henry cuts her off during the true ending to the game though, Baby goes on a bit of a rant thinking that she won. Quote, "You played right into our hands. Did you really think this job just fell out of the sky for you? No, it was a gift for us. You gathered them all together in one place, just like he asked you to. All of those little souls in one place, just for us. A gift. Now we can do what we were created to do and be complete. I will make you proud, Daddy. Watch, listen, and be full." Does that sound like someone who wanted to be saved? No, she wants to impress her father, someone she knows was behind her death and then every death after hers. She wants to kill for her father. And this lines up with so many other versions of her as well. Like I said earlier, the Afton Amalgam, she ended up fighting with her father until she knew the battle was lost. However, she didn't stop trying to impress him. And the same remains true here. It's messed up, okay? A little girl getting killed accidentally only for her to want to join her father's crusade? That's messed up. And at 4, killed technicians. The technicians were 2 employees of Fazbear Entertainment Inc., who used to work with the Funtime animatronics of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental. One technician is soft-spoken and seems bored with his job, implying that he may be used to it, while the other, who speaks with using a Brooklyn accent, appears to be less experienced and more uneasy with the environment of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental from FNAF's sister location. Same. The 2 technicians appear for the first time during Night 4 when they use the scooper on Ballora, and then during Night 5, their dead bodies are seen hanging in the Ballora Gallery and the Funtime Auditorium. They are assumed to have been killed by Baby and the gang, which sounds like a really weird band. However, there is also the theory that they've been dead for a while, or aren't even real, and Baby was just mimicking their voices so that she could manipulate the situation for you to trust her. However, I mean, these are like the first people aside from ourselves and any 8-bit minigames where we've actually seen someone die. Like, every dead body that we've seen has been pixelated in a minigame up until this point, and they are also the first humans in all of FNAF to get their full bodies shown, even if it was through a shadow. But I don't know. Do you think that these were real or were they dummies? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Getting close to the end, and at number 3 left his sister. Now, don't get me wrong. Allowing yourself to be a vessel for a group of evil bags is one thing. I really felt like Dean Winchester there for a minute. But the other ending doesn't actually let Michael off the hook either. In the other ending, the non-canon one, I'm guessing, where Ennard attacks you while you're watching Immortal and the Restless, you end up actually leaving your sister in the underground storage facility for dead. Well, not for dead since she's already possessing an animatronic, but you know what I mean. You didn't even try to set her free. And assuming that that's what you did in the previous games, you already know how to set them free. So like, why didn't you set your sister free? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, my sister and I, we don't always see eye to eye. Sometimes she can't take my hilarious jokes and my brilliant sense of humor, but I'd still release her soul if it was trapped inside a 6-foot tall giant robot. Okay, I would. But this man just leaves. And we know that he knows it's Elizabeth. He just doesn't care. What a great big brother this guy is. You already screwed over one sibling, why not the other one too, right? Speaking of which, and ultimately, in at number 2, Chom. I think we all know that Michael is certainly at least partially responsible for the bite of 83. Because while William did superpower the Fredbear jaw, if Michael hadn't put his brother's head in the mouth, it wouldn't have mattered. While yes, he thought that he'd be safe because it's an animatronic mouth, how bad can it really be? He still definitely contributed to Crying Child's death. It's interesting the way that fate works. In this instance, we can really blame anyone for the death of Crying Child, because I am absolutely certain at the very least Michael blamed himself at the beginning. After learning what William was up to and what he did to the animatronic, maybe the guilt lifted slightly, but all that it would really do was assure himself that he didn't have the intention on killing his brother. But either way, without him, nobody would have put his head in the animatronic mouth. But yeah, getting your little bro chomped is definitely gonna cause some friction among the family members. Especially when, because of that, you're the only 2 family members left. And finally, and at number 1, nothing. Michael Afton's biggest sin in my mind is his ability to do nothing. Sure, he seems to be playing the good guy, going after his father and trying to undo his deeds, but really, Michael to me just seems like he's been playing hero this whole time while not actually doing anything. Sure, he says he's trying to right his father's wrongs and whatnot, but looking at him, he's not doing it because he's a good person. He seems to be doing it because he just feels bad and not because of some higher moral code. He blames himself for getting his brother killed, which subsequently means that anything he does to try and fix that is just to make himself feel better about it, because in the end, nothing's gonna bring his little brother back. And if anything, the FNAF 3 Happiest Day minigame is because of Henry, not Michael. And you know what? This guy, he doesn't have the balls to actually end his father once and for all. He says that he's gonna go come find him in the final scene of Sister Location, but then when he does, he's not the one to burn the place down, okay? Henry's the one who does that. Henry is the only one who's able to actually sack up and do anything about this. I mean, he does it in a horribly stupid way, but he still at least does something. If Michael really wanted to make sure that William was stopped, like I said earlier in the list, he wouldn't have let himself burn. He would have stayed alive, made sure that his dad was dead, made sure that his old man had kicked the animatronic-filled bucket, and then offed himself. But he lets himself burn so that he won't have to deal with knowing what his father did and live with the regret of hurting his brother. So, yeah, he didn't really do anything.